Yo, hit that thumbs up button, man. Hit that notification button so you know when the videos is dropping. So on social media yesterday, yesterday was Monday was Black Monday. That's like the last day of the year, the day after the last game in the NFL. And that's when all of the bad coaches usually get clipped and they all get fired. So Jaguars and the people was calling out the way ESPN, pro social justice ESPN, like they claim they are. Uh, the way that they published it, and I don't know who runs they social media, but the way that they put it out there, they would say stuff like, the Jaguars and Doug Marrone have parted ways per Adam Schefter. The Jets have parted ways with head coach Adam Gase. The Detroit Lions announced that Matt Patricia has been relieved of his duties, and the GM. But then they posted something of an old clip of when they put it up like 3 years ago. The Detroit Lions had fired head coach Jim Caldwell, and then they were like, the Chargers had fired head coach Anthony Lynn. Now, those two coaches are black coaches. And it's like, damn, I never looked at it like that. I said, yeah, when I look at it, they do use different terminology when it comes to the black head coaches. Now, with that being said, was I offended? No, I wasn't offended. This is no excuse for poor coaching or bad coaching. If you're bad, look, if your team was healthy, y'all had an easy division, and you went 3-13, you have no excuses. You deserve to get clipped. But the way that they publish it, Disney, ESPN, the way that they publish it, it just looks like they trying to be funny. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, are you trying to be sarcastic? Now, somebody, and like, it's always, and I don't even know why it's still even an argument or a debate. Some white sports fans would be like, well, yeah, it's not like that. And I'm like, dude, white coaches just have a more, black coaches have a shorter leash. Van Joseph got fired after 1 year in Denver. He's a coordinator again. And one thing I've noticed is when black coaches get fired, head coaches, they don't just get another head coaching gig right away, the next year. They usually have to go home and sit down for a while, or uh, they have to be coordinators again for about 4 or 5 years. Leslie Frazier got fired in 2 years in Minnesota. All he had was Adrian Peterson in the defensive coach. He's been a coordinator ever since. He's on the Bills now. Now, most likely, if the Bills have a deep playoff run, somebody should call up Leslie Frazier, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. The Chiefs have a black offensive coordinator. He should have got a job last year. He didn't. Like Vance Joseph, like I was saying with Denver, he was there 1 year. They've clipped him. He's back as a DC. Now, Adam Gase was the head coach for the Dolphins. They had one playoff run with all that talent. He sabotaged Ryan Tannehill. You see him shining in Tennessee. He got fired in Miami. Like a month later, he was the coach of the Jets, and then dragged that franchise to a point where their goal was no longer winning the division and finally beating the Patriots. Their goal was to get the #1 draft pick, and they still couldn't do that because they lucked up a couple of wins. And he sabotaged the whole franchise, ran Le'Veon Bell out of there, and they parted ways. That's the way it was put out. You know what I mean? But that type of, that sequence, I've never seen a black head coach get fired and then had another head coach job the next month. He's on another head. It just doesn't happen. Dennis Green had 2 runs, really. Arizona and Minnesota. Lovie Smith's probably the only black coach I could think of that got fired and jumped right back into it. I think he went from the Bears to the Bucks. But typically they just don't have that, and they have a shorter margin of error. Anthony Lynn had a rookie quarterback out there all year, played his ass off. They had a lot of injuries, and you're in the same division as the Chiefs. But they couldn't finish out games. So it's like I say, I'm not mad that they got rid of him, but it was just the the way that the way that the ESPN and them publish it, and they know how how the NFL is with head coaches of black descent. Because Jason Garrett was awful for like 8 years. He went 8-8 5 times. Well overdue to get fired. Got fired. Was a coach the next. Now he's coaching for the Giants. McCarthy was average in Green Bay. Sat home for a year. Came back. He's coaching the Cowboys. Like you just don't see it. So it's like they try to talk about the Rooney Rule on some of these shows, but the Rooney Rule was nothing but really a PR stunt. So Pittsburgh could just make it seem like, so the NFL could make it seem like they give fair opportunities and they're not a good old boys network, but they are. I watch it for the games. I love the sport, but the NFL is a business. It is a good old boys network. There's no black GMs. There's no black uh, owners. None of that. You had one black GM for a long time, Ozzie Newsome. He was one of the best they had for years, like in the whole league. But you don't really see that. There's like black players place is either a coordinator in the NFL or either you're a damn position coach or you're a player. Pretty much. Those are your options. Now some of the black coaches looks like they're trying to go into college and say, okay, to hell with the NFL. Like Byron Leftwich might leave the Bucks. He's the OC. He might go and coach Marshall, down in West Virginia. So, got to do what you got to do. But yeah, ESPN is pretty bogus for that though, man. It's like, the white coaches get relieved of their duties, and the black coaches, no, they got fired. You know what I mean? Like they got fired on their day off, like Craig from Friday or some shit, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section, y'all. I'm out.